All right, Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Brakatham. My sisters, Yahweh Shemal Ayothan by Hashem Yahweh Shai. This is the Thursday class. I'm Priest Officer Qam Gawan. This is the I.S.U.P.K. and the Commanding GEN.YAHANNA. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Bringing the truth since 1969, which he said blacks, Latinos, First Nation man and woman, are the ethnical Jews that the Bible speaks about, the biblical Israelites. So today we're going to be talking about, Christmas. Christmas is a pagan holiday, all right? Pagan meaning it's an abomination to the Most High God. It's a detestable thing, and it's something that blacks, Latinos, First Nation men and women have been partaking in for hundreds of years since we've been here in America and all over the world. And it's something that the Most High God looks down on. It's something that we're not supposed to partake in, and it's just a time of greed, an abominable practice. And it causes a lot of things in the black, Hispanic, and First Nation homes or whatever. So, of course, we're going to pull out some scriptures to prove these things. We're going to read a little bit of information on what the real meaning of Christmas is about. And so we're just going to jump into it, all right? So, of course, the first scripture I'm going to pull is one of my favorite scriptures I like to pull all the time, Jeremiah 10. We'll start at Jeremiah chapter 10 in the first verse. All right, it says, "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel." Okay, so first and foremost, the scriptures is always talking to the children of Israel. That's blacks, Hispanics, First Nation man or woman. Verse 2, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen." Okay? I read that again. Verse 2, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen." Okay. Now, unfortunately, the heathen has a lot of detestable, despicable, disgusting ways that the nation of Israel likes to follow. Right about this time right now, we're talking about Christmas, okay? So we know that Christmas is a pagan custom. It's a pagan origins. It goes all the way back to ancient Babylon, and then to the so-called Edomites and the Roman kingdom, and it was brought over here to what you call the Western civilization today. So we're gonna read a little bit about that. But again, let's get this verse from the top so we can clearly understand that the Most High God is against these things. Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 1. "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen." Okay, so it's not for the children of Israel to partake in any heathenistic customs, all right? Whether it be any holiday, whether it's Christmas, whether it's you're celebrating your birthday, whether it's Easter, Thanksgiving, New Year's, which is following right after the so-called Christmas, Salakia. So it's not for the children of Israel to partake in these things. And we're going to dive right in. I'm going to pull some information here. I got a book here called Pagan Traditions, all right? It talks a lot about a lot of these American so-called worldly holidays. And we're going to go and read a little bit on Christmas, all right? All right, so this is in chapter 6. This is, we're starting at page 96. It says, "Where is Christ in Christmas?" Now, understand that being a priest and prophet of the Most High God and the I.S.U.P.K. and the Commanding GEN.YAHANNA, I can read these books and I can decipher what's legit and what's not. So understand that these are some of these books are written by people that might be not all the way learn or understand everything that they're talking about, but I can pick it up and read it. So if you hear something that sounds off, just understand that I'm reading from this book and I'll pinpoint what's right and what's wrong. But I'm just reading a little bit about it. So it says, "Where is Christ in Christmas?" Now understand that Christ has nothing to do with Christmas in general. That's why I'm bringing that point out, because Christmas has nothing to do with Christ. We all know that. If you don't know, Christmas is a Babylonian pagan custom which has to do with Nimrod. Okay, so we're gonna read here. It says, "The scene at home is that of a festive holiday. Evergreen wreaths and a fir tree decorate the house, and children nearly burst with anticipation over the gifts they will soon open." So we know that when they start talking about evergreen wreaths and a fir tree decorated the house, this is getting back into ancient Babylon. We know that the so-called god Janus was the god of like doorways, transitions, and stuff like that. That's why people unknowingly hang wreaths and things on their door and whatnot. It says, "And children nearly burst with anticipation over the gifts they will soon open. Festivity captivates nearly everybody's thoughts and plans as the holiday approaches. Even the public square reflects the greenery and garnish of the season." That's why you see all this, everything is green, green and red and whatnot. You know what I mean? This is what you're going to see during the season. According to the calendar, it is the third week in December. However, Two major elements seem to be missing in the scenario. First, there is no mention of jolly old Saint Nick with his reindeer and sleigh. And second, there is no nativity scene, Star of Bethlehem or Silent Night in evidence. What is wrong with this picture? So what they're saying is they're basing it off the birth of Christ, which we know that, you know, Christ has nothing to do with Christmas. But what they're adding into it is that when they talk about Saint Nick and the sleigh and all these other things that came into play during the Western civilization, which is today, they originally had nothing to do with, you know, their version of the, you know, the Babylonian version of this so-called Christmas. It was just worship of the Christmas tree, Nimrod. They did have some of the decorations, like, you know, some of the balls and whatnot. But this old Saint Nick and the sleigh and all these things, this comes along later, all right? Okay, it says, nothing is wrong at all since the calendar reads 14 BC. The celebration is that of the winter solstice. Now, this is what I want to get into. The celebration is that of the winter solstice, which in the Roman scene described above is celebrated as Saturnalia. Now, captains above me in the school have, and generals and many officers have brought this out, you know, many times before. But this Saturnalia is the Roman version of what the Babylonians were doing. So the Babylonians started the pagan tradition, and then later the Romans came and they, you know, invented something called Saturnalia. All right. Although many of the elements of the holiday fit the modern celebration of Christmas, the birth of Christ is still a decade in the future, and Santa Claus will not appear on the scene for centuries. So this is telling you here that when it is in its original pagan form, which is, again, this is not something that has to do anything with Christ, but according to these pagans, this is there was no Christmas, there was no sleigh going across the sky, there was no Saint Nick or anything like that. That wasn't until later, until the so-called Romans, you know, or the Romans got a hold and came in control. You know what I mean? And we'll get into a little bit about that Saint Nick and everything later. It says, let me see, hold on. Imagine, however, that the calendar now advances all the way to the close of the 12th century. The birth, life, and death and resurrection of Christ are established facts. Now, Western civilization has been both formed and vitalized by Christianity for centuries. All right, so this is letting you know that even these pagan traditions, this is something that the Christians carry on today. So if you're in a Christian church and you think you're serving the Most High God, you're not, okay? Because the Christians, when they were forming their unified worldly religion, they allowed the pagans to come. They wanted to come together with the pagans, and the only way the pagans would do it is if the Christians would accept their pagan traditions. So that's why things like Christmas was being accepted, Halloween, and so forth. So these pagans came together with the Christians, and that's what you have today. That's why you can go to a Christian church. You can go into T.D. Jakes' church, and he's celebrating Christmas. And any church, for that matter, it doesn't matter where you're at, they all pretty much celebrate every holiday. All right, that's all I wanted to get out of that one. Let's go into this other one. I got another one here. It's called celebrations. All right, celebrations. Let me see if I can find the right. Salakia, woman in Israel. Okay, let's go to page 308. And this is the book of called Celebrations. I'm just gonna read it real quick. A couple lines from this. Okay. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you can see here, but I'll show you a little bit of it. Probably can't see it too well here, but this is a book called Celebrations, all right? The book is by, it says Myers, the editors of Hallmark Cards. I don't know if this is, let me see. Okay, yeah, Robert J. Myers. The Complete Book of American Holidays by Robert J. Myers, all right? All right, so we're on page 308, Christmas Day. It says, when observed, December 25th. Earliest observance, early 4th century. You hear that? Early 4th century. Okay, so what you see today, all this, you know, the red, the red, white, the story about the sleigh and the man flying through the sky and all that. This is something relatively new. This has nothing to do when the Babylonians originally instituted this, this pagan worship with the Christmas tree and whatnot. All these other things got added later. All right, so it says, in those days, hold on, Salakia, 1 minute. Oh, okay, this is what I want to get in. All right, it says, Mithraic influence on Christmas, okay? Mithraism, I believe, is something to do with the Persians or whatnot. It says, prior to the celebration of Christmas, December 25th, in the Roman world was the Natalis Solis Invicti, which means the birthday of the unconquerable sun. Now remember, I told you that Christmas is, worship of Nimrod. Now remember the whole story about Nimrod. I guess I got some here. We'll read on it shortly. But Nimrod supposedly, died, and the spirit went into the sun. This is according to his mother/wife's Semiramis, and then he, she had the evergreen tree, and said that his spirit lived in the tree, and if you didn't put gifts underneath the tree, that his spirit would come alive and kill you and all this and that. It's crazy, it's bull crap, but this is what the pagans believed, and this is what they did, and this is what the original roots of it was. So it says, prior to the celebration of Christmas, December 25th in the Roman world was the Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquerable sun. This feast, now remember, and we're going to read scriptures that talk about feasts. This feast, which took place just after the winter solstice of the Julian calendar, was in honor of the sun god. All right, Mithras. Now Mithras is it's the same as saying Nimrod, but it's just in a Persian version. So it says, was in honor of the sun god Mithras, originally a Persian deity whose cult penetrated the Roman world in the 1st century BC. By the year AD 274, Mithras had attained such popularity among the soldiery and such favor in the eyes of the emperors that Aurelian proclaimed the cult of Sol Invictus the Roman Empire's official state religion. All right, that's all we need on that. So to sum that up, it all started in Babylon, okay? It started in Babylon under Nimrod. And then it goes into, different other nationalities or other people. And then it made its way into the so-called Roman world, which is the so-called devil, the oppressor that the Bible speaks about. And then it made it into Western civilization, in which we are in today. So again, Christmas is a pagan origin. It's December 25th is Nimrod's birthday. It has nothing to do with Christ. Christ was not born in the wintertime, okay? So it's Nimrod's birthday. And then Nimrod is considered the sun, or the Sol Invictus, or whatever it was called, the unconquerable sun. And again, his mother or wife, so-called Semiramis, she set up she had the people in fear about Nimrod's spirit being in the tree, and that if they didn't oblige and put gifts under the tree, that his spirit would come alive and kill them. And that's why, and I believe somewhere it says about the balls that hang from the tree has something to do with it symbolizes the heads of the people that didn't, listen, and then they would have their heads hanging from the tree. All right, but let's jump into the scriptures, which is way more important. All right, so just understand that Christmas is a pagan origin, and it's not for the children of Israel to celebrate. So again, Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. Verse 4, they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. Verse 5, they are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. So back in the day, during this time of Nimrod and Semiramis, the people were in fear of this. They really believed that, Nimrod's spirit lived in this tree, and that they were going to be, murdered, killed for not listening to Nimrod's wife. So people feared this tree. And that's why it says here, be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. It's just nothing but a tree. It's nothing but a damn tree. It's nothing but a tree. It can't get anywhere unless a man carries it there. It can't sit up straight unless a man sits it up straight. All right, it's nothing to fear, but it is something of pagan origins, and it's some pagan origins, and it's something that we cannot celebrate or partake in. Now let's go to Amos 5:21. Amos 5:21, a very popular scripture I like to bring out here over and over again. All right. Okay. Now remember that when we read in our book, it said that this feast day, talking about the day of the unconquerable sun, right? Amos 5:21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. I'll read that again. This is the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. So the Lord hates, he despises things like Christmas, okay? Because this is, like I said, Babylonian in origin. This is a heathen custom. Now, the Lord expects the children of Israel to be separate from other nations. He chose us to be a separate people, a holy nation to him. And we are not to do what the other nations do. And this is of Hamitic stock. The Babylonians are so-called, the same stock as the Africans, the Libyans, the Canaanites. This is all Hamitic stock. Nimrod is his father is Cush, you know what I'm saying, who is Hamitic. All right, it says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Okay, so the Most High God wants no parts. He does not want us to take any parts of Christmas. Okay, verse 22. Though you offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. So when you're cooking up all that, you sisters and you brothers is cooking up all that stuff for Christmas and thinking that the Lord, it's a merry, wonderful time of the year and all the family comes together, the Lord does not give a damn about none of that. He does not, he's not going to smell in your solemn assemblies. He does not care nothing about that. This is why you see a lot of things like house fires and stuff on Christmas. Because the Lord is not with you. The Lord is not with you if you're celebrating Christmas, black man and black woman. All right, let's get Matthew 5 and 13. Let's go to Matthew 5 and 13. And I want to jump around. I want to bring out different scriptures to tie into what I'm doing here. Let's go to Matthew 5 and 13. It says, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Verse 13 again, ye are the salt of the earth. Blacks, Hispanics, First Nation man and woman are the salt of the earth, meaning what? We give the world flavor. We are the truth. We are the what here on earth. But if we lose our flavor, if we lose our our savor, what I'm saying, if we're we lose that salt and we become like the heathens, then what good are we? We're just like them. And by celebrating Christmas, you become like the heathens. You lose that savor. You know what I'm saying? You lose, that thing that makes you special among all people. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing what? You're being like other people, and we're not supposed to be like other people. You understand? We are the children of the Most High God. We are the salt of the earth. Okay? So celebrating Christmas, you're not the salt of the earth. You're being just like heathen nations. All right. Let's get it. Also, if you're interested and you want to know where the real high holy days, the days that we are supposed to observe, they're in the book of Leviticus chapter, in the 23rd chapter, okay? Things like the Passover, you got the Sabbath, you got the Feast of First Fruits and so forth. But these are, if it's not in that chapter, then it's not of Israel, okay? If it's not in that Bible, if it's not said for the Most High God, say it for us to observe it, it's not to observe it. Then you know that if you're celebrating anything outside of that, you're serving the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about. You're not serving the Most High God. And of course, the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about, does the work of the devil. All right, so let's get let's go to, let me see what 1 Corinthians 8 and 4. Okay. Now you also know that when you're observing Christmas, you're also doing what? You're adding sin on top of sin by doing what? Brothers are smoking weed, sisters are smoking weed, eating things sacrificed unto idols like pigs and pork. You don't understand that, like, when you celebrate Christmas, remember, Nimrod, that's Nimrod's birthday. This is a holiday or so-called day for Nimrod, the unconquerable son. All right, so here you go. 1 Corinthians 8 and 4. As concerning, therefore, the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one. So remember, in Babylon, they hold Nimrod as in high esteem as if he was a god. All right, but we know as the children of Israel, as there's only one God, the Most High God. Okay, Yahweh in Hebrew. Okay, there is none other God but one. And when you're eating, pig on Christmas, you know what I mean, you're eating and things sacrificed unto idols, because Nimrod is an idol. So when you're eating that pork and you're celebrating Christmas, this is all in celebration of Nimrod. Okay, and we know that as Israelites, we're not worshiping anyone but the Most High God. Okay, so as concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered and sacrificed unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one. All right, now let's go down to verse 5. For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many. So we're saying that there's a lot of people that are called gods. Nimrod was called a god. You see some of these athletes out here today who got big money, they're treated as gods. Sometimes, even on your birthday, you know what I mean? When you have a birthday, you treat yourself like a god. You know what I mean? So it says, and there be gods many and lords many. Verse 6, but to us there is but one God, the Father, of whom are all things, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord Jesus Christ, by whom are all things, and we by him. So there's one God, there's one Most High God, and then there's one Lord, the one King over Israel, Christ, or Yahushua in the Hebrew. Okay, Nimrod is not God. Okay, Nimrod is not God. Nimrod was a man who went against, the Most High God. Then he was of Hamitic stock. He's not of the children of Israel. He's a damn heathen. So celebrating Christmas, you are celebrating Nimrod's birthday. You're celebrating Nimrod. You're celebrating the sun, because that's what it's about, sun worship. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 8, 9, and 10. It says, but take heed lest by any man's this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. For if any man see thee, which has knowledge, sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols? So let's say you are a brother that has some knowledge about that, that Christmas is a pagan day, that Christmas is about Nimrod, right? And then you got a brother or a sister that's next to you, and they're watching you be, learning this truth, or you walking in the truth a little bit, and then they don't really know what to think, but then they see you on Christmas opening up gifts. They see you on Christmas, taking a hit of weed because it's Christmas. They see you, eating pork and going over grandma's house and mom's house because it's Christmas. Now, of course, if somebody who's, looking at you, looking up to you, and thinking that you're this example of what the truth is supposed to be like, and they're not as strong as you, they're weak, what's going to happen? They're going to follow your lead. They're going to follow what you're doing. So this is so if you're, and of course, in I.S.U.P.K, the Commander Gen.YAHANNA, we don't have this issue because brothers in the school here, we keep the law, statutes, commands. But if you're a so-called brother that's in the world and think that you have the truth and you're not in I.S.U.P.K, you're not in the truth. All right, you're not in the truth until you come up in here. And you're not in the truth if you're not fake Israelite group or a Christian church or a Muslim mosque. But if, like I said, if you have some knowledge and you know that you're not supposed to observe Christmas, and you got a so-called weaker brother or sister, next to you, it doesn't help them by you sinning right in front of them by opening up damn Christmas gifts or, eating pork and smoking weed in front of them. It's just to be with your family. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 5 and 9. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 9. Okay, it says, remember, we're jumping around here, and I'm going to explain, some of these scriptures as I go. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. All right, so celebrating Christmas is bowing down to Babylonian customs. It's bowing down to Nimrod. It's bowing down to a heathen nation, because that is a heathen custom. It's not a custom of the children of Israel. And the Lord gave us a command to not bow down to nothing but the Most High God. We are not to serve any heathens, okay? So when you celebrate Christmas, you celebrate Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year's, any of that, you're celebrating heathen customs, okay? Those are heathen customs. They are not of the Most High God. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. So, and also, when you go and celebrate Christmas, all you're doing is building up this American economy. You're building up, the same people that oppress you every day and enslaved your ancestors and continue to oppress you, every day. For the last, I don't know how many hundreds of years, almost 500 years. So, and what you do, what? You make them rich. You're going to make the children of these oppressors rich. You know what I mean? And these people are going to, rule over you because of the wickedness that we're doing, celebrating these holidays. You understand? They can celebrate these holidays. They're heathens, but you can't. If you're of the nation of Israel, if you're a Black, Hispanic, First Nation man or woman, you cannot observe any American holidays. All right? Let's go to Ezekiel 20 and 7. Okay. It says in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20, verse 7, it says, Then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. I'll say that again. Ezekiel 27. Then said I to them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes. What does it mean to cast something away? Get rid of it. Throw it away. In this case, get rid of that goddamn Christmas tree, Salakia. Get rid of those decorations. Get rid of those Christmas gifts, all right? Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, And defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. Defile not yourselves. Don't make yourself abominable or a sinner for Egyptian practices, for African Hamitic, customs. Defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Nimrod is an idol of Egypt, of Hamitic stock. The Christmas tree is an idol of Egypt, or the Hamitic stock, or Babylonians. Okay, cast that stuff away. You know what I mean? This has nothing to do with Christ or the birth of Christ. This is pagan in origins. All right, let's go to Ecclesiastes 7:29. So I'll get 1 minute. Okay, it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 29. It says, Lo, this only have I found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Okay, understand that this Christmas, this observing Christmas, this Christmas tree, this does not come from God. This comes from man, okay? This comes from heathens, all right? This has nothing to do with the Most High God. So the Most High God made everything right the way it's supposed to be. But it was men and their inventions that brought wickedness into the earth, you know what I mean? And the things that we see today. Lo, this only have I found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions, okay? And if you're following the devil that the Bible speaks about, the oppressor, everything that he does is devilish. Everything that he does goes against the Most High God. And it is of his own inventions. He tells you that, pork is the new white meat, but the Bible says it's against pork, done to eat swine. He tells you that it's okay to be a homosexual and have an alternative life. But the Bible says not to lie with mankind like you lie with womankind if you're a man. So it's clearly telling you who the devil is and who the oppressor is, okay? And if you're observing Christmas or you're listening to, things that the oppressor say, you're serving him. You're not serving the Most High God. And remember that the Most High God said, for this is love, that you keep all his laws, statutes, and commands. So if you're not keeping God's laws, if you're celebrating Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, black man and black woman, you don't love God. That's in the Bible. That's not according to Priest Officer Qam Gawan. That's in the Bible. All right. Lo, this only have I found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. All right. Let's get Matthew 7:15. They want to read some more. Matthew 7:15. Okay. And it says, in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 15, it says, Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Now this here, I wanted to show you a video on T.D. Jakes, because T.D. Jakes, this is speaking definitely about somebody like him. It says, beware of false prophets. Now, T.D. Jakes claims that to serve the Lord, he has a huge congregation. He's worth $100-something million. He makes his money off of speaking the word. It says, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. So T.D. Jakes appears to be a sheep. He appears to be, someone that loves his people and wants to do well for his people. But inwardly, he's a ravening wolf, meaning he wants to destroy his people. He serves the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about, and he's all about money. Now, I don't think I can pull this up on the video. For some reason, it wasn't working, but I want to let you hear what it's saying. Maybe you can just listen to it, and then you can hear it. I have it here, right here on my iPad here. All right. Now, remember, in the book of Jeremiah, it says to not celebrate heathen customs. It says, learn not the way of the heathen, right? Now, the pastor, according to, the Most High God, is supposed to feed the flock, right? He's supposed to teach the children of Israel to do the right thing, right? So I'm pretty sure during his seminary school and his years of learning the Bible, he's probably read Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1, right? You would think he did, right? But listen to what he has to say regarding Christmas. And, let's just listen to what he has to say about this, all right?
Coming up on the Potter's Touch.
If you have a problem and God doesn't fix it, there's a strategy that he's using. He hid him in a barn, locked him away where he could be detected, put him in a place where only the wise men could see. Sometimes God will allow you to have a problem to stop your enemy
Listen up. This is T.D. Jakes.
Glory to God. This is the season to celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And nobody knows like you and I what the real reason for the season is all about. Merry Christmas to you. May this be a blessed and happy and peaceful season for you as you reflect on the great gift that God gave us when he gave his son. I'm glad to share this word with you today. I pray that you're enjoying the gift of life and grace and mercy. And so it's not about the stuff you get. It's not about that. Don't worry about that. It's not about what you couldn't get for anybody. It's about what God gave to you, the precious gift. Have you opened it? I want to share a word that will bless your life. For unto us, Merry Christmas.
All right. Now I don't know if you heard that too well. Hopefully you did. But he went right before his sermon is about to start. He's saying, Merry Christmas, for unto us a son is born. Of course, he's tying in, doing exactly what the Christians, over time have done. Try to tie in Jesus' birth with Christmas. When we know that Christ has nothing to do with Christmas. And we know that as Nimrod's birthday. But he clearly said, Merry Christmas. This is the time of year. Christ, this has to do with Christ and whatnot. Now, you got to understand how serious this is. Because this man is looked at as a leader amongst black people and Hispanic people and First Nation people. And, he looks the part, you know what I mean? He has all the money, you know what I mean? He can speak very eloquently, you know what I mean? So if you're a brother in the world, you might believe this brother, you know what I'm saying? But this guy is a ravening wolf. He doesn't care nothing about his damn people. He's all about money. And over you would think of all these years of reading the Bible, learning the Bible, and becoming a professional preacher, so to speak, he would know that in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1, it says, learn not the way of the heathen, and then it goes and describe about the Christmas tree. And I know he's read that. But what does he do? Instead of telling you the truth, he tells you that it's okay to celebrate Christmas. Merry Christmas. He even has, and there's another video here where he has an actual performance of children performing in his church for Christmas. And if you even see this video, you can just type it on yourself, just type in T.D. Jakes' Christmas sermon. You'll see that the whole atmosphere of this place, the men in there are just soft looking, emasculated men looking men. I mean, it's just a terrible scene. It's just a terrible scene, you know what I mean? And this is what the Christian church does to us. It destroys our families. It makes men look soft. It gives women, it esteems women to, rule the household and to be loudmouth, pterodactyl dragons. You know what I mean? It's just a wicked thing. So this Christianity is just something to destroy people. But anyway, so again, this scripture here that I got here, it says, beware of false prophets. This is Matthew 7:15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Verse 16, you shall know them by their fruits. Okay, by their fruits. So what's T.D. Jakes got? $100 million something, 3 private jets. You know what I mean? Lord knows, what kind of what kind of cars the man has. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. That these people, you know what I mean, the type of wickedness they do to their own people. And again, it's just because they're ravening wolves. They don't care nothing about their people. Commanding General Yohanna is your leader. If you're a Black, Hispanic, First Nation man or woman, Commanding General Yohanna, the I.S.U.P.K, under Commanding General Yohanna is where you need to go. Again, we have these classes Monday through Friday. Here in Pittsburgh, we go Thursday from about 5 to 6:30. We got street camps where you can come out and watch it, watch it live in street, live in person. See some of these devils and these heathens get cut up on the street. We got the Passover coming up on April 1st. And you know what I mean? This is where the truth is, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget to go online, pay your tithes, ISUPK.com, support this truth. You know what I mean? But this is the move here, black man. This is the move. All right, let's get Luke 16 and 13. Let's go to Luke 16 and 13. It says, in the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 13, no servant can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Now, mammon is wealth or riches, okay? We know who the Most High God is. But it says no man can serve 2 masters. T.D. Jakes and a lot of these other pastors are trying to serve 2 masters. But really, they're not serving 2 masters. They're serving one. They're serving the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about, and they want money, okay? So they can't at all be interested in serving the Most High God, because if you're serving the Most High God, you cannot worship money, okay? And that's what T.D. Jakes does and many other so-called Christian pastors do. And that's what they do. And we have to be aware of that. And again, by paying attention to the I.S.U.P.K and commanding GEN.YAHANNA, you will begin to understand who is for you and who is not. Okay, that's the short answer of it. All right, one more time. Luke 6:16 and 13. No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. So T.D. Jakes despises the Most High God. Why? Because he loves money. Simple. Very simple. Let's get Matthew 15 and 8. Okay. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 8. This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. You hear that? This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Verse 9. But in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. That's what people like T.D. Jakes does. Their heart is far from the Most High God. They talk about, oh, Jesus this, Jesus that. You know, Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. But their heart is far from the Most High God. It's far from what Yahushua did. But in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. T.D. Jakes teaches you what the goddamn white man wants you to learn, Salakia, or the oppression the devil that the Bible speaks about. That's what T.D. Jakes does. That's how he makes his money. That's how all these other Christian pastors make their money. They teach you what the person who's in rulership right now wants you to know, or wants you to, think you know. All right. Let's get the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. Salakia. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. These Christian pastors, man, boy, they some smooth operators, man. They some smooth guys, man. They got the look, they got the fresh, oppressor suit on, clean shaven face, alligator shoes. They got game, man. They've been going to seminary school. They've been learning how to talk to people for years and years and years. You know what I mean? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. See, he's at war with his own people. He's at war with his own people for what? For money. For crumbs that fall from his master's table. That's why he's at war with his own people. Just for some crumbs. Just for some crumbs, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. That's what these Christian pastors are. They want money and they're at war with their own people. And they serve the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about. Why? Because they don't do what the Most High God says to do. You can't celebrate Christmas. You cannot have, first of all, the Most High God is out in the Christian church, for one. And then he damn sure is not going to be with you if you're celebrating Christmas in the church. Okay? So, the things that these Christian pastors are teaching you are lies. Okay? I.S.U.P.K and the command of GEN.YAHANNA. All right? Let's get Matthew 10 and verse 35. All right. Matthew chapter 10, verse 35. It says, for I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Verse 36. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. All right, so this is Christ. This is written in red. Christ is saying that he's come to separate, break up families, okay? So if you a brother, you came, or sister, you came out of that world and you're in the truth, and you know what I mean, you got, family that's still in the world, you know what I mean? He's come to, break up families. You're going to have to, might leave what your mother and father believe. You might have to, separate from them. Why? Because they're sinners. They're in the world. And Christ chose you out of that world. You understand that? And then he goes and says that he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. All right, so if you love your mother and your father or your son more than Christ, then you're not worthy of Christ. You understand it? He come to set a man against his family, a woman against their family. Why? Because he wants you to keep the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High God. And if you're not going to do that, then you're not worthy of the Most High God. You're not one of the children of the Most High God. And you want to continue to be a sinner and celebrate Christmas. All right? For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother. Salakia, 1 minute. All right, Salakia. All right, so again, It's not an uncommon thing to be at war in your household during these holidays and stuff like that, especially if you're not trying to celebrate them. And if you're trying to, you know, do the right thing under the Most High God, you're going to be at war with your family. They're going to hate you. They're going to, you're to them, you're taking away the most jolliest, wonderful time of the year. This is what they think, right? It's the most wonderful time of the year where nothing but greed is spread. You got these damn badass kids, Salakia. They ain't gonna do nothing but take those toys and break them up in a few hours. You know, you're in a white family over, you're gonna get into a damn fight. Family's gonna be fighting. You know what I mean? You're gonna be, you know, have drug addicts in, you know, in the home, and it's just nothing but a despicable, disgusting thing. You know what I mean? So Christ came and set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. So if you don't celebrate Christmas, and you got, you know, you with somebody in the world, Salaki, you know what I mean? Most High Christ, you know what I mean? It's not a good thing, you know what I mean? Salaki, you know what I mean? You're going to be at war. You're going to be at war. That's why you sisters, you know what I'm saying? You come out of the world, you know what I mean? You come up in the I.S.U.P.K, get you a righteous man, you know what I mean? Same thing with brothers. Come out of the world, stop dealing with those dragons, man, and, you know, get a woman in the truth. You know what I mean? They'll understand. All right. Now let's get there was something I wanted to bring out. Okay, 1 second. It's a lot here. All right. I want to touch a little bit more on this what we were reading earlier, just to bring it back out again. So we were talking about so-called Christmas as pagan in origins, and it started in Babylonia, right? But we're going to remember it once the white man got it, or the so-called oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks about got it, it became Saturnalia, all right? So it says, ancient Roman holiday honors Saturn, okay, the god of seed sowing, and celebrates the promise of a spring harvest. Originally just one day, over time the festivities grew to last a week, starting December 17th, coinciding with the winter solstice. That's Saturnalia. We're bringing that out again, all right? And then here's some of the things that that happened during Saturnalia, or what they would say. The term Lo Saturnalia was a seasonal greeting, just like how you say Merry Christmas. Lo Saturnalia was the original greeting for what you call Christmas today. It lasted between 1 day and 2 weeks, okay? Celebrates Saturn, okay, the actual Saturn, you know, like dealing with the, you know, celestial and all that, and the winter solstice, okay, which has to do with the sun, right? Saturn was the god who taught agriculture to the Romans. Christmas is similar to Saturnalia traditions. When the Roman calendar changed, the main feast was held around the 25th of December. People exchanged gifts and decorated their homes with wreaths. Now remember, wreaths symbolizes the god Janus, right? He was the beginning of doorways and transitions and whatnot. These are Roman so-called gods. During Saturnalia, all schools and businesses were halted. What does that sound like today? It's about to happen, what, I think tomorrow. After tomorrow, there won't be no school because, wow, here comes Christmas, the most wonderful time of the year, right? But that's started in Rome for Saturnalia. All schools and businesses were halted, all right? All right, it says, also in Germany, Odin was the pagan god worshipped during the midwinter, during that solstice, all right? Odin, you heard about Odin, right? Germans were terrified of Odin. Listen to this, as they believed he made nocturnal flights through the sky to observe his people. Now, what does that sound like? Who else flies through the sky on a sleigh with a reindeer with a red nose? I mean, this stuff is just ridiculous. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's sad that our people are led away, you know what I mean, by these things. And it's sad that our so-called leaders are helping the so-called oppressor with this. But yeah, that's where these things originate from. And the Germans, when they celebrate Christmas, it was Odin, okay? And Odin flew through the sky and to observe his people, just like Santa did, right? December 25th was a celebration of the unconquerable sun, marking the return of longer days. It follows Saturnalia. So when the sun, would be out longer, you know what I mean? It was a celebration of the sun, okay? That's what December 25th is all about. Santa Claus, the traditional patron of Christmas in the USA and other countries bringing gifts to children. He is based on Saint Nicholas, a 4th century Christian saint. So that's where you get Santa Claus from, a 4th century Christian saint. All right, that's where Santa Claus comes from. So remember, this stuff started in ancient Babylon, and then the so-called oppressor brought these things in later, all these things that you're talking about now. All right, we're just going to do a few more scriptures, and then we're going to get up out of here. All right. Let's get the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 19. Okay. It says, thou shalt not rush judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous. You hear that? Thou shalt not rush judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous. It's a lot of gift giving going on Christmas, right? And that does pervert some people's judgment. You know, if you ain't strong in the truth, it lets you, it put, you know, you drop your guard down. You want to, you want to go over Big Mama's house. You want to go over, Mama's house and all that. And, they want to call you and tempt you to come on. Oh, come on over here, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's just nothing but family over here. I know you don't celebrate Christmas and all that, but, I made a nice juicy ham for you and some turkey. And, I know you don't really do gifts or nothing like that, but this is the last time I'm going to get you a gift. Just come on over and open it. You see what I'm saying? These type of things you got to watch out for. You got to watch out for, because who are we serving? Are we serving man, or are we serving the Most High God? Okay, and let's jump down to that. Let's go to 1 John 5 and 3. 1 John 5 and 3. It says, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Okay, this is how we know we love God, that we do what God says to do, that we keep his laws, statutes, commands. And in here it says that Christmas is the way of the heathens. We are not to observe Christmas, okay? For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. I mean, it's not hard to not celebrate Christmas, black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. It's not hard to do it. You can put the damn tree away. You can buy gifts all year. There's 360 something more days of the year that you can buy gifts, okay? If you celebrate Christmas, you're doing it because the oppressor tells you to do it. You're going to make him rich, and you're going to disobey God. Period, point blank. All right, let's get one more. Let's get 1 John 2 and 3. It says in the book of 1 John 2 and 3, and hereby we do know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. So I want to hear nothing about you knowing God, or you love God, or God's in your heart, and you're washing the blood of Jesus and all this. If you don't do what the Most High God says to do, you don't know God. If you don't keep the commandments, you don't love God. Okay, so again, if you're Black, Hispanic, First Nation man or woman, Christmas is a pagan origins, and it's a Babylonian custom that the so-called oppressor took and modernized it into what it is today. When you got the gift, the so-called the colors, you know what I mean, the Santa flying through the sky and all this and that. These are all, pagan customs, okay, pagan traditions, and it's not of the Most High God. So again, get online, pay your tithes, support this truth, the ISUPK.com. This is the I.S.U.P.K. and the Commander GEN.YAHANNA, start at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. All right. If you're a brother and you want to, you're interested in coming to the school, come to class, start to wear our Black sisters, come to class and address, you know what I'm saying, cover your head up, you know what I mean, come and learn this truth, you know what I mean. But this is it. This is where it is. This is it for you, Black man, Hispanic man, First Nation man and woman. This is it. This is the truth. It's it's high time. It's high time to get in this truth. And with that, I'm gonna close out the class. The water for tuning in, and Shalom, Israel.